Thank you, thank you. So Benjamin Janey is he's an entrepreneur, straight up. You know, I mean, I feel like you truly fit that role. Digital designer, musician, founder of Spooler.co.
Yes, sir.
Merchandise. Cool T-shirts
Yep.
and all kinds of
On
stuff.
demand.
On
Yeah,
demand.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Spooler's a fashion tech company. We're based out of California, and we're utilizing technology and fashion to really help people take control of what they wear
Sure.
and then the statements that they want to make.
Yeah.
The company's really segmented into two different business units.
Yeah.
One is our design unit that provides design services directly to small, mid-sized companies like web design or product development. And then the other side of the company is our tech team, and we're developing platforms and apps to help improve
Sure.
the fashion industry. So
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of fun stuff.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I know you provide a platform for artists to be able to design their own merchandise and put it up and have it available for order, sort of, printing and sending and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
It's called on demand, Johnny.
On demand, that's the word. Thank you, Jeff. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest problems for designers is really to have the capital and the tools to go to market with their concepts. And so we developed a platform called Timeless that allows independent designers to earn passive income based off of their creations and then also participate in the conversation of the day.
Yeah.
And I started off myself as a designer, on Venice Beach, trying to build a brand. So,
Sure.
This solution here, if that was around when I started, I probably would have gotten where I am today a lot faster.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like that's one of our core, competencies is really trying to solve some of these issues in the fashion industry for designers.
Yeah. Well, you have been representing Hunnypot, as a merchandise brand for years. So I
Absolutely.
certainly appreciate that. Let's take it back to
Buy the shirt.
buy the shirt. Go online, get a shirt.
Take the ride. Buy the shirt.
Let's take it back to your beginnings, because you mentioned Venice Beach.
Yep.
You started by selling sort of hats, right?
Yep.
Was it customized hats on the beach, and that
Yep.
you turned into working yourself into the malls, doing the sort of the kiosks inside the malls, and pretty active in that world. Give everyone a little sort of the story of how it all started for you.
Yeah, I mean, started out on Venice Beach, customizing hats for like celebrities and tourists, and vintage beach goers, of course, based off of like relevant topics in society. So, and then just custom work as well. A lot of customers would say, "Hey, can you put a name on a hat?"
Sure.
So the pop-up idea really was speeding up the time it took to create a product and go to market,
Sure.
and then also was responding to the needs of the customers in real time.
Yeah.
And so that
And
concept.
this is like 20 years ago.
This was
right?
like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And now you can't go into a Subway or a Domino's Pizza without seeing customization.
Yeah.
But in any event, that model was really successful. It was a sample size sort of proof of concept that people want cool, high quality fashion products on demand. So I was able to raise some capital and then launch that same concept in the Westfield Culver City Mall. If you're from LA, the Fox Hills Mall, most people still call it that.
That's big, exactly. Exactly.
And so we had that concept, and the business grew from, you were there, one employee
I
to
was
about,
there. I was there for the opening
Right.
inside the mall.
Jeez, 35 employees, sort of like in a blink of an eye.
Wow. Yeah.
And we grew real fast. It was it was a really exciting concept. And by the way, the first custom fashion kiosk in the history of Westfield Mall property. So, made a little bit of history, at least in that space. And, we decided to cut the fat after a few years of learning the ins and outs of brick and mortar retail, which is a tough business.
Yeah.
And then expanded the business online to what it is today.
Yeah.
Spooler. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
And you've been there, man.
I have been
You
there,
and Jeff.
exactly. I think I DJing your events from the beginning.
I was around.
He was there. And then you decided to write a book, right? How did the making of an American hip hop tycoon project come together? Was it you talking to Jennifer? Jennifer talking, were you saying, "Hey, Ben, how did that begin?"
I was just a spectator in his life at that point. I had contracted.
Did you have a hat?
No, not necessarily, but I'm not a hat.
Yeah,
not a baseball cap girl, so avoided that one. But I was contracted with a PR firm that represented Ben, and when he was making that move into the kiosks off of Venice Beach onto bigger things, he needed somebody to tell his story.
Sure.
And so I was hooked up with him in that.
So you started early as well, writing, and
early in his inception, just being able to tell his story.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was someone I loved interviewing inspirational people with inspirational stories.
Mm-hmm.
Young men who had things going on, young women that had things going on, and so, I was just like, oh, what a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And come to find out he really liked what I did in that story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was, 2 years later that you moved into Spooler from High
Yep.
Definition. Yeah, it was about a couple of years later, and he contacted me directly and said, hey, I'm moving into Spooler, loved what you did before. Could I get you to, do something? I was working for a different outlet at that time.
Sure.
Can you get me to do something about Spooler, announcing the launch of Spooler? And so we did that, and from those two opportunities, it just kind of built a collaborative relationship. I mean, anytime he had something happening that was launching him into the next stratosphere, he'd call me, which your own personal,
Exactly.
transcriber.
Yeah. Very necessary.
That's a good
Oftentimes.
adjective.
That's great.
But no, it was like watching again the growth and the progress, and it was inspirational. Like I said, I'm a big proponent of inspirational stories. I like to highlight and talk about inspirational
and that's exactly
stories.
what this book is.
Yeah.
Is it's lessons that you have learned and experienced and are passing along, as in, hey, these are suggestions on, how to get ahead, how to become a tycoon, right?
Exactly. Jennifer, how do you like to describe it as a how-to guide?
A memoir how-to guide.
Yeah. That's perfect.
It really is, structured like a blueprint.
Sure.
Each chapter has different lessons that you can learn from, for example, how to adapt to certain situations, learning how to enter new markets, just like how I had to enter this new market in LA.
Mm-hmm.
People think you just come here and throw shit on the wall and figure it out, but you really need to be planned.
No, those are the people that don't have homes. They do that.
You can walk right outside and see the results of that, right?
Yeah.
So, it takes
It
a lot of
happens.
commitment and, planning. And so the different chapters, are focused around certain concepts about how to be successful.
Yeah.
And really, whatever you do, I'm a designer, and designers will get a lot out of that.
Yeah.
But I think it can appeal to many different industries.
Well, it's definitely. Not just the design industry, but again, people who have a concept, and they're like, I have this great concept, but how do I launch it?
Sure.
Lessons there in how you go about doing that.
Yeah.
The biggest, I think, focus of it is the fact that collaboration, mentorship, and giving back.
Sure.
Those three things are things that you don't see in the business world. It tends to be cutthroat. It tends to be this. And the fact that these are anchoring principles of his life and how he built his businesses, I think, are huge lessons to the people coming up or people who are looking to build a business, that you don't get anything taken away from you by building those principles, those key principles into your life.
Of course. That's fantastic. Where can people find the book right now?
Amazon.
Amazon. There you go.
One little plug. The book actually premiered number 11 in the world in the personal success and business category on Amazon. I mean, we were blown away by it. We were
You're like, what?
charting in the first week, and we're really excited about that.
Yeah.
And we have some other plans to actually or convert the story into a movie in seeing it
There
in
you
a visual
go.
space, and that's.
all right.
And I don't want to talk too much about it, but
Yeah,
it's in the works.
Well, the reviews have been great so far.
Yep.
So that's a good way to start. I was thinking
Yep.
about the audio book. And then
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking about a movie. You're jumping way ahead.
Who's going to play Johnny in the movie?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Any suggestions?
You probably should just have Johnny
we'll have
in
a
the
side.
movie.
We'll have a
We
side.
have to
We'll
say-
have a side meeting.
Johnny,
You got to
now,
come to the casting call.
Johnny's
man.
just some Venice guy.
John Cusack. I got that for a long time. We're still close enough. It could work.
One last thing about the book is the tie-in to hip hop culture, and that what a lot of people don't know is before fashion, I started off as a young hip hop executive.
Yeah.
And artist.
Yeah.
And learned so much from
Writer,
the culture.
producer, releasing stuff yourself. So
100%.
you've done it. You've been down the road. Yeah.
And the things I've learned in the through hip hop culture, I feel also translate into what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
Working hard. And some hip hop was born from innovation.
Sure.
With DJ Kool Herc, creating really what we have today as block parties or production and break beats. That all started from a guy